I move for no man, no man, no man, no man, no
We'll call it a draw.
man.
Just a flesh wound, 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 just a flesh wound.
Did I not get the memo?
You didn't. I did my last interview in a cowboy hat, so.
Have you guys
Regular
have you
hat.
guys been talking behind my back?
By the way, hold on. Let's see if I can hold this to the camera.
That's
That's
Joe Exotic
beautiful.
cup. That's
Oh,
love
yeah.
it.
My
That's-
buddy Tony got that for me.
A Joe Exotic coffee
And I'm
mug.
finally
Love
drinking
it.
Chimera fucking coffee, by the way.
That's beautiful.
I did get some. Thank you, my friend. I'm also
I
enjoying
told
some
you I was going to get that to you.
wasabi almonds, which are delicious if you've never had them.
That's a good time.
I love those. I love the barbecue ones.
Dude, I have the barbecue ones too they're on top of my refrigerator. Those are my favorite.
So you're rocking like 50% of the Wolverine look, Gary.
Well, I did shave the Wolverine beard. No mustache, the V in the middle. But
No, that's his look, man.
yeah,
All you
Yeah,
need now
that's
is like
pretty close to it.
the hair.
Yeah.
You need a little more fullness in the side, though. Wolverine's got that extra.
Gary, I'm gonna make you Wolverine claws for next weigh-ins
Mhm.
in Asia.
The thing is, when you don't do the hair, you basically just look like one of Khabib's friends. Yeah, pretty much.
100%. Are you from Dagestan, bro?
I'm Dagestani for sure. My one buddy insists that I'm Iranian.
You could easily blend in with them. You already have the cauliflower ears and the facial hair mold that
That's
you should have.
that same friend also insists that the cauliflower ears didn't come from grappling. It was from my dad chucking full beer cans at me when I was a kid.
What a beautiful friend.
That'll do it too.
So lovely.
He thinks that every time Freebird comes on, I get a little jumpy because dad used to come home and crank classic rock while he threw full beer cans at my head.
Is that about the time that he would start raging
Mm-hmm.
with Freebird?
Yeah. We just got off the phone with my family and my dad's counselor and everything at the rehab because it's like time for him to. Yeah, they're recording.
Are they like evaluating?
Sorry.
Were they like giving you a breakdown or an evaluation of how it's going?
So basically, my dad has been there for 2 months. He only really agreed to stay for the second month because of the quarantine and stuff, I think. But it doesn't matter why somebody goes. It's like at the end of the day, like just getting to treatment is like the most important thing. So I was like, all right, great. We got him to stay for a second month. And then honestly, they were like telling me good things. They're like, man, like he's been very helpful. He's been a mentor to some of the other guys. I think maybe he's ready to go to the next step, like go to, a sober living or something like that. He doesn't need to stay for a third month, which is normally indicated that you stay 90 days.
Okay.
So they started asking him questions about where he wanted to continue treatment, like what kind of sober living, etc. And I guess there was a lot of pushback there. And they kind of just like asked him, they were like, John, do you think you're an alcoholic? And he was like, oh, well, I'm not as bad as some of these other guys and this, that, and the other thing. Started making excuses and stuff, which is really like, that's like the first step, right? And part of this
You got
rehab
to
is
admit it.
like going through the 12 steps, right? And he's on like step 10 or something, right? So that's all the way back down to step 1 is him not believing he's an alcoholic. So he's kind of been BSing his way through the program a little bit,
Damn it.
And yeah, but I mean, hey, dude, it happens, it's expected. It's hard to undo 40 some odd years of drinking and drugging and having addiction problems in 2 months. It takes time.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I'm still optimistic about it, but he basically they called me, they're like, listen, he either needs to stay another month or we need to get him to a sober living. Like he's not like where we thought he was before. So we just had the conversation today about how, listen, dude, like if you're just going to try to come back and resume your regular life and you're not going to keep trying to get treatment and keep trying to get help, like we're not here for you anymore. Like we're not helping you with bills. We're not giving you a place to stay. We're not doing nothing, I actually told my dad, this is like one of the hardest things, I'm super pragmatic about things. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of emotion attached, but like I do feel very sad and very angry about the whole situation, despite the way that I'm plainly speaking right now. But I literally said to my dad, I was like, hey, listen, I was like, if you come back and you don't do any treatment or anything like that, every phone conversation you ever have with me is going to go like this. I'm going to pick up the phone. You're going to say, hey, what's up? And I'm going to say, hey, are you doing anything to help yourself? Are you going to treatment? Are you going to AA meetings? And if the answer is no to any of those questions, I don't think we have anything to talk about. And that's really it. You know, at a certain point, even just my emotional involvement is kind of enabling, you know, to my father, in my opinion. So that's the way that I'm going to carry myself moving forward, because I just can't do it, man, anymore. I can't be a party to his addiction and his issues, you know.
I can't believe it's been 2 months already. I feel like we were just talking about like when he was about to go in.
It goes by quick, man. It goes by fucking quick. So at the end of the conversation, by the way, he kind of agreed to like go to a. So you know, at first it seemed like he was going to choose, you know, alcohol over us, but it seems like he might be making the next step. We'll see how it goes. You know.
I mean, it's gonna work out, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Addiction is it's tough. It takes time, and you know, relapse is pretty common, and people spending multiple trips going into treatment, I think, is more often than not how it goes. So it's just, you know, it's a process.
So Gary, you know, I was telling you I was gonna get you those Wolverine claws. So let me run this idea by you.
I'm ready.
So I'm thinking, instead of like his real claws with knives, I'll do like silverware, like a spoon, a fork, and like a plastic knife.
So he's ready for after the weigh-in. He can just get right to eating.
It'll be a
like
broke ass Wolverine.
I'll be Edward Utensil Hands.
You guys do anything cool this weekend?
I actually went to a gym this weekend. That was good.
Woo.
That was like the highlight of your weekend. You went
I got
to
to punch some shit. I felt so good to put my hands on something.
Is Florida like been open back up like 100% now, or not really?
No, they're phasing it, and it's much more north. Like Jacksonville's like I don't know, it's like 8 or 10 hours north of me. Down here is still pretty populated, so we're still pretty locked down. There's not a whole lot going on. Like, even we went to the gym, and it was literally 3 guys. Like
that's where
just for us.
That's where the UFC event's being held, in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, yeah.
Yep.
But the parks here are still closed. Although really? Parks here are absolutely closed. But I did get an email like literally an hour ago that they said they're going to start phasing some park openings, but like they're going to cut the amount of time, and it's going to be, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they said they were going to do something with how many people are going to be allowed there at a time.
We have a little park down by here in Secaucus, and they opened it up this weekend. Our governor is taking the stance that he's opening things this weekend. And if he continues to use the word knuckleheads, and he says, if you knuckleheads screw up, you know, we'll go back to like whatever. And it's like, what a fucking like.
Did you take it personal, Gary?
What's that?
Did you take it personally?
Specifically me, yes.
Yeah,
I very much resonate with the knucklehead.
Same.
But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I hate being condescended to. Like, how different is that motherfucker from the rest of us? That he's gonna say some shit like that, especially after we've all been locked down for fucking 2 months.
Yeah.
You know. Now and then you have the balls to talk shit when you start releasing restrictions, even though the restrictions themselves were already unconstitutional. You shouldn't have been able to do that shit in the first place.
I feel like every week I'm getting more and more on edge about this. Like, I've been really good for about a month and a half, and now it's just like. Last week was the first week I was really like, oh, this really sucks. I can't wait this to be over. This week I'm like, I'm fucking over it.
Yeah, man.
I want to get back to life.
I mean, I think as public support continues for that, it's only going to get easier because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, what are they going to fight against the entire fucking people? Like, in everybody's opinion, I can't imagine they're going to do that.
Chris, whose gym was it?
I don't want to say just in case.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was very cool of them to open up for a few of us guys. But it was just hitting bags. That's something I miss that so much. Like, I've actually been getting some mitts in with some guys down here, but I don't know, hitting a heavy bag and being in a gym. I hadn't been in a gym. It's literally 6 weeks.
Hey,
it was amazing.
Can I ask you a question, Chris, about because you have a lot of hand problems, right?
Yeah.
So I have issues with my elbow, wrist, you know, my hand. At one point in time, I had issues as well. What kind of stuff do you do to try to, you know, reduce the impact and stuff? Because, like, for me, basically the majority of my training is all sparring.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'm wearing. There was a period of time where I was even wearing 18s and doing this, but now I'm still wearing 16s. wearing 16s, and I'm wearing on my shitty wrist. I have a small like wrist brace. It's not like the metal one. It's just like it restricts the movement. And then I got sponges on either fist.
Yep.
On both hands. Is there anything else that you would recommend to kind of like?
Yeah,
like an actual
actually,
sponge.
Yeah, like an actual sponge. Yeah.
Actual sponge, like a dish sponge.
It's not. They're nice and thick, and then when you tape it down, when you wrap it down, Frankie, like it smushes and it makes a nice barrier.
Yeah.
Is that like a little industry hack? Because I've never seen that.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, a lot of us do it, especially boxers. But other guys, we'll do a fight wrap, and we'll have our coach wrap our hand. Like so, when I spar, I'll usually do a fight wrap. If I'm just doing pad work and stuff, I'll do what you do with the sponges.
Interesting.
But yeah, no. So and we'll use it. Now I'm sparring, 2-3 days a week. It'll last me a few weeks as long as they dry out good. But then after a couple uses, I'll just have my coach do it again. So because that way it just really locks in your bones and your hands just like you would on fight night.
Do you think it's possible for a person to learn how to do their own? Could you do your own hands like with
100%.
that? Like that? It's just harder, obviously, but you could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I could help you with that because I can do it myself. If you have gauze and tape, it's okay. You can totally do it yourself. And then what you do is you wrap your own hand and then you cut it with like like an HV, like athletic trainer scissor, slide right off, and if you put tape on the inside, they actually last longer because the gauze won't fall apart.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into doing that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I went to the beach this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice out. So it was a friend of mine's. It's a beach. It's like a private beach. It's close to a friend of mine's house. And it was like a couple of us. Some friends took their kids and stuff. I took out my drone and I was doing like some cool shots. And this kid's like looking at the screen on my phone where it shows what the drone footage, right? And he's like, "Hey, can you bring the drone closer to me?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I'm like thinking that he might want to like take a picture.
Oh,
and he's like, "Can you bring it down a little bit?" I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "A little bit to the left." I'm like, "Okay." And then once he had the drone where he wanted it, he threw a fucking he threw like a really big ball of sand on the drone, and the drone went like this, and crashed.
Little boys are such destructive little
son of a bitch.
Oh, that looks expensive. Let me break it.
Jesus. Yeah, my drone's like 2 months old too, like
That's
3
awesome.
months old.
Little boys.
Little
boy.
fucker.
How old is
Like
he?
so innocent. Like he's 4.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, bring it down a little bit more."
I remember when we were out there, Frankie was using the drone to get some footage when we were out in the Dominican. He flew it over. With Gina. He flew it over like a river, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if we lost control over it or if it hit a tree, but it just crashed like in the middle of the river. I'm like, oh no.
The thing about it is that when you lose sight, you're just looking at the screen, and the point of view that you have is just like the forward one from the camera. And when you're doing like lateral shots where the drone is going lateral, you don't see what's on your sides. So I just crashed into a tree like from the side.
Yeah.
And the thing went right into the river.
Did it mess it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they break pretty often, huh? I would assume.
I had a warranty card. You pay like a couple $100 for it, and if you break it, they'll like send you a new one. So
when we were in training camp, Danny Jacobs, like he had a drone, and he would have trouble sleeping a lot during camp. So he'd like just kind of go out in the middle of the night, and he would just like be out on like his little like he had like one of those little like motorized skateboards, and he'd do that with the drone, and he would just do that for hours and hours and hours. He came back the next day. I'm like, "Oh, my champ, would you up all night?" He goes, "Yeah." Like, can we focus on training so you can? Jesus.
So he was just like playing.
Yeah, it's just like it's training camps. There's a lot of pressure, So like especially when you got big fights. So a lot of times I've seen this with a lot of fighters. I had the same issue myself. Sometimes it's hard to sleep. So you got nervous energy. You're in great shape. So
yeah.
Do you can you take anything to sleep during training camp?
You can. I mean, you can. I don't think anything would be banned. like sleep aids, but I don't think they're a good idea in general. You know, any kind of medicine to use for sleep, but just normal things like just having good sleep hygiene. Even wearing like the blue blocking glasses really can help. I've been doing that a lot lately, and that helps me kind of get in the mode, so you're not having too much screens, too much blue light going into your eyes.
I drink these pills called ZMA.
Yeah,
It's
ZMA
like
is really good.
Zinc, magnesium, something.
But like that's a supplement. You know, that's not a medicine that's gonna knock.
Well,
you
yeah,
out.
that's what I meant. Like,
Yeah, that's totally okay. Yeah.
For me, if I take, I don't really feel like melatonin has any effect on me. But if I take like ZZ Quill or like any of the, or like an allergy pill or something, all of that stuff like kind of fucks with me like the next day.
Yeah.
I feel a good solid 24 hours where I'm not like 100%. So I really don't like taking those like while I actually have training the next day. So the most I'll do is like maybe I'll have one like for the plane, because our flights are like 20 hours and stuff, or in Asia. So maybe I'll have one for the plane because I know I'm not going to train for a meaningful period of time. But other than that, man, edibles aren't too bad. I don't feel like those make me shitty the next day. So like occasionally I'll use those to help me sleep. But other than that, like I don't know, man. It's hard. It's, you know, end up like you said, like you just thinking about so much stuff and you're kind of nervous and it's hard to go to sleep. I remember one EBI, I didn't sleep at all throughout the night. Just, you know, zero sleep and then competed the next day.
dude, you're like destroyed after those long ass flights, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I've flown to Asia a few times myself, and it's just it takes days.
What's the longest flight you guys done?
20, 21, 22, something like that.
In one plane or like layovers?
We had a layover, so I think it was 18 from LA to Shanghai, and then
That's brutal, man.
and then like another couple hours over to
Was
Hong
that for
Kong.
the Pacquiao fight?
Yeah, I went out there twice for that.
They hook you up with first class?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
I was laying down
Bala!
sleeping.
Oh.
I didn't use anything on that because I'm like, I'm in a bed. I watched like 12 movies in a row and
That ticket's like 10 G's.
yeah.
For the longest commercial flight they have now is like I think 18 and a half hours to Singapore, like it's a straight shot from New York to Singapore. So I've taken
I flew that far.
and then they have like you said, like I've had connections where it was like over 20 hours, but yeah, like shit, what was I gonna say about the flights? Fuck, I totally can't remember. I lost my train of thought. I don't know.
I did that flight at New York to Singapore. That's actually I did the other way. I did Singapore to New York. That's how I came home from the Pacquiao fight, and that was like, dude, that one took weeks. I don't know, coming back this way, oh, dude, recovery was it took 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I was up in the middle of the night all the time.
Chris, how much did it bother you that you couldn't enjoy the first class champagne?
Oh, that's what I was gonna talk about.
I did on the way home.
Dude. So the first class thing. So all my flights to Asia, they don't pay for that. Like they're just putting me in economy, right? But like especially if I'm gonna fucking fight, dude, like my back and my neck will be jacked up from that. Like I can't spend the first 2 days of my fucking training like paralyzed.
Right.
So like I always have to buy the first class flight there. And
what's the difference in fee?
So sometimes, like to Singapore, it was like $5,000, so I could afford it. Like it's terrible, but I'm like, all right, listen, this is an investment in my career. If this is going to be the meaning between winning and losing a fight, fuck it, right? But then when it was to Japan, you know how much that flight was? First class was $20,000.
Holy shit!
I was like, guess I'm showing up with a broken back.
That 20 G's,
$1,000 for a first class flight.
Is that the fight where you heel hooked the dude?
That one wasn't in Japan. No, Japan. I think was the one where I TKO'd the guy. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong.
Okay.
Because I fought a Japanese guy, and that was the fight after that, I think, which was in Singapore. I'm pretty sure.
Did you feel like shit fighting?
Did I feel like it affected me for the first couple days, like going there. But to be fair, the Japan flight is much shorter than those other flights. You're talking only like maybe a 13-hour flight compared to like what you normally have to do, you know, so.
That's like the cutoff for me. Like anything over 12, 13 hours is when it gets really hairy.
Yep.
How long are you out there for?
Me? Or
like before the fight?
I always show up with at least 8 days
That's it?
Ahead of time. Yeah. So I've like 8 days beforehand, and then you like lose a day in transit. So I end up with like a week to train leading up to the fight. Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
about
that's
all
nothing.
Yeah, but I really prefer to be in my own environment for about as long as I can muster, because your training schedule is just never the same when you're out there. Like, I need at least a week to adjust. Like, some dudes fly out there like, 2 days before the fucking fight, 3 days before the fight, and just go straight into their obligations and shit. But like, there's like a learning curve. Like, you got to show up, you got to figure out where you're going to be grocery shopping, you got to figure out like where you're going to get all your shit, where you're going to train. All these things are like it's just not set in stone. You got to figure it out as you go along. And sometimes even figuring out how to get from place to place. Like, some places have a terrible taxi system, and they don't have Uber or whatever it is. And some places you got a public transit. It sucks. It's hard sometimes.
So how do you do it? Like, do you have a contact over there that hooks everything up beforehand, or did you just get there and start asking people and start asking the front desk?
Probably how it should happen, but honestly, almost every time it's done on the fly. Like, we get there, we send out a message like, "Yo, is there anybody that's got a gym in the local area?" Or I'll contact the organization. What do we got? And then we start making calls. We start organizing training, and we
very, very, very different than my experience.
No, Chris probably had everything hooked up. Everything
rolled
probably
out.
beforehand. He probably had like a stash of food already waiting for him there, right?
Yeah. No, I give them a list like a week before.
Like a rider.
And
it's a little harder too, because I have to find somewhere that's got a cage. Like, that's really crucial for me. And like, for boxing, like, I mean, there's plenty of places that have boxing rings
everywhere. Yeah.
It's really not too difficult. But for a cage, it's hard to find, especially in Asia, because they typically don't have as much space. So to find a place that actually has the space for a cage and that thinks it's like a good thing, it's hard, man. Basically, like, the most of my experiences in Asia have been training at a UFC gym out there. UFC gyms always have a cage, so that's where I've been at.
How much time were you there for, Chris? How long?
I was there 11 days. And honestly, boxing is different because like our fights are 12 rounds. It's different. It's just a different length. But I did 11. I think it was 11 days. I wish I would have done more, honestly. But the reason I chose to do less was because I didn't want to bring a sparring partner out there, and I didn't want to try and like get somebody out there. It was too close to the fight. So it was just so expensive to bring somebody out. So we kind of took it like, I could go 10, 11 days without sparring, like for real. So we kind of waited longer than I would have liked to. Look, thinking back, I should have brought a sparring partner and just went 2 weeks and got used to the time.
I'm at the stage where, like, for me, like, it feels uncomfortable not to spar because I've only been doing this for a short period of time. So I bring a sparring partner with me every time, and I literally spar with them all the way up until like the day before the fight. Like, once weigh-ins start, I kind of stop like sparring. We just do drills and stuff. But
MMA, you need a partner. You need to do your ground stuff, to do your jiu-jitsu, to roll with, to even do light sparring, because that's another thing. MMA guys, I've noticed, guys spar light a lot. They'll do a lot of light point touch sparring. Boxers don't ever do that. So it's a little different. You guys are definitely much more team members than we are.
Well, some places anyway.
Yeah.
From what I hear,
Seen that too.
Still full fights every single time they spar and shit. So it's a little nuts.
You guys go balls to the walls, Chris?
Generally, boxers, like we spar hard. But it's different because we have so much gear on. We got our headgear on, we got big gloves on. It's not like MMA sparring where you can get caught with a knee or an elbow, or even by accident, you guys can get hurt a lot easier than us. Yeah.
Cuts are prevalent.
Talking about sparring, man. When are you gonna spar Anthony Johnson, Chris?
I'm not sparring that motherfucker ever.
Can you record it?
I held pads for him the other day. My forearms are still sore. He hits crazy hard.
Why would you hold pads for him? Like, what was you just wanted to feel his power?
No, but we're all working out, kind of like team workout. And I was like, I grabbed some mitts. Like, let's jump on the mitts. Like, I wanted to hold mitts for him because I know he's a big puncher. I wanted to feel what it was like. But also just the other guys too. Just hold the pads for everybody. I like doing that. So it was cool to grab him on there. He's exceptionally fast. Like, surprising. I figured he's going to hit hard, but his speed was really, I was impressed, very impressed.
I was telling you the other day, I was watching, I've been watching a series of fights on UFC Fight Pass. So I pick like one guy and then I'll study him. I'll watch like pretty much all of their fights. And it was a little easy for Johnson because
Every fight's
like 30 seconds. He's just swinging and knocking these guys out. Every once in a while, you'll catch a fight where he goes the full 3 rounds, but a fucking miracle that the other guy makes it that long.
a good one to watch is Arlovsky. Him and Arlovsky, they had an absolute war, and Arlovsky's chin held up, which was amazing.
Sure.
And he's really good. Like his skills and his technique are phenomenal. So that was actually a really good fight to have those two guys going bombs away, and they went the full tilt. So that's a good fight to watch.
You know what? He's talking about going back as a heavyweight. Man,
Yeah.
I would go back to 205.
Who?
I think
Anthony
Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about the other day. He's not sure yet.
I mean, he's
I
got
would
the
go back to
power to
205.
succeed anywhere, like in any
Dude.
of those divisions, right?
The only guy that had his number was Cormier because of his wrestling, and no one has his wrestling. Maybe John Jones, but John Jones as of lately hasn't been using his wrestling.
Yeah.
They never fought, right?
No.
Never.
I would like.
They were
that to
scheduled
happen.
to fight, but something happened. Like I think it's when Jones got in trouble.
Yeah, and I think Stipe would be a really tough fight too.
Yeah.
Stipe is
Stipe is a monster.
he's a monster. He's big and he's strong. He's a real heavyweight.
Bro, what about Ngannou?
He is such a freak. I was actually looking at his Instagram earlier today. He is an absolute freak.
Ngannou's another one that has heavy power.
Yeah.
Dude, he's got reach on him, super long arms, really strong, super fit, jacked. He looks like he's from a comic book. He is just a perfect physique and just long and strong.
Yeah. Watching these heavyweights fight is in the
We need
UFC.
to have him on here. I'm gonna convince him to go back to 205. You'll see. He's gonna take my wise advice.
I'm gonna convince him to go back to 170.
How crazy is it watching his fights at 170? He looks like a different person.
It's crazy. And he looked, you know what's crazy is at 170, he actually somehow looks less ripped than at any other weight class. Like at 170, he kind of just like looks like a jack dude, don't get me wrong. But like I was watching one of his 185 fights and I'm like, oh my God.
He's like all cheekbones.
Dude, it's crazy.
At
Just
170.
muscles on top of muscles, man. Fuck fighting that guy.
Yeah, and he can hurt you with anything. Right hand, and that was another thing I was really impressed with holding pads for him. He punched hard with his right, and he punched hard with his left. His left was a real whip. I was really surprised at that. And then he's got kicks. He can kick with both legs.
Yep.
He knocks people out with kicks.
Kicks are brutal too. He's got so many fucking weapons, man.
Yeah,
So many
dangerous.
weapons. And he's not. It's not like so. Like we can sit here and say like, oh, like he has trouble with tough wrestlers, but like honestly, he's got pretty fucking good wrestling too. Like it's not.
Yeah.
So that is, if I had to point out a weakness, grappling and wrestling, like that's how somebody probably is going to beat him if they beat him. But it's not like it's going to be easy. It's not like they just take him down. It's no problem and like keep him down. So
Cormier is one of the best MMA fighters in the history of the sport, and his wrestling is insane. So yeah, you can say it's his wrestling, but it's also Cormier. Cormier is an incredible guy.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Well, I think in like in the 205 division, the person that's best utilized the wrestling is Cormier out of like him and John Jones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. John just wants to punch and kick now. He just wants to, which I'm fine with.
Well, that and drink.
And apparently do cocaine.
And a little bit of that devil's dandruff.
Oh man. What a mess.
So yeah, we need to get him on here, and I'm gonna have some words for him.
The wise words of.
What surprised me, I was mentioning this to you guys, is how nice he actually is. I watched a fight of his where he got his fucking eye poked out. Like, dude, the guy like threw a jab and it was just 100% finger through the fucking eye socket. In fact, I found out in a later fight, they were talking about it. He had to get like serious eye surgery because of it. And he was winning that fight for sure. And he actually lost the fight because of the final eye poke. He couldn't continue. And first, I don't know why that's such a bullshit thing. Like, it's an illegal move. How does he lose after that? But man, he was super humble about it. He was like, listen, guys, don't boo my opponent. Like, he wasn't trying to do this, I be happy that he came out here to fight me, this, that, and the other thing. And dude, I mean, I would have been fucking pissed if I lost like that. I was really surprised at how well he stayed composed and was like really respectful to his opponent,
He's a super cool and like calm guy. Ngannou's like that too, actually. Really, really nice guy. I talked to him when I was in Vegas over at Extreme Couture's last time I was in there, and he's funny and witty, and he was talking about philosophy and things. So I'm like, this guy's great.
Yeah.
I love when you meet these guys that you've seen and they turn out to be really cool too. And like, all right, I'm even more of a fan.
And with that French accent, he sounds even more of a gentleman.
Yeah, sounds like an intelligent gentleman.
Hello, Chris. How are you doing?
Meanwhile, he could pop my head off like a fucking Pez dispenser.
Eyewitness news, where news comes first.
Current events.
Bring it on.
Wait, before current events, did you guys see Ngannou pick up Shaq?
No.
Dude, he picked. They were both at the UFC PI, and they were like playing around.
That's
and
impressive. Shaq's like 400 pounds.
Yeah, Ngannou grabbed him and picked him up like he was a baby.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
It's great. Like those guys, like a guy like Shaq, you just don't realize how big they really are. Cause like most of the photos you see of these people are next to other people that are big or like,
giants,
or just by themselves. And then you see a photo of like Shaq just next to like a regular guy and you're like, oh my God, that's an actual giant.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a picture of him next to Joe Rogan. I mean, Joe Rogan isn't that tall, but
Joe Rogan's a short guy.
yeah, he's not that tall, but still, like it looked like Joe Rogan could give him a standing blowjob.
Well,
he was like right on his hip.
Joe Rogan has that comic bit where he says that he was like, human beings are not made equal. He was like, I met Shaq. My face is where his dick is at. It's like,
there you go. Exactly.
It's not fair.
Yes. Well, I actually saw the picture where he's probably, explaining.
There's this one dude. I think it was the guy from Game of Thrones, the Mountain or whatever. And I'm pretty sure his girlfriend is like 5 foot nothing or less, and like probably under 100 pounds. And I'm just like, dude, I want to watch them fuck for sure. Like I need to see how that happens. Like, so, like how does that?
Yes.
Like
like a shish kebab.
Vladimir Klitschko, who is like 6'7" or 6'8", he's got a 5 foot tall wife as well.
Yeah.
Jesus,
and
man.
she's that actress girl.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta check in on these women and find out if they're okay. Like,
gotta be your internal organs.
Just sex in general has to be inherently abuse. At that point, I feel like.
Dude, have you guys seen that the viral videos with the with like a bunch of, I think it's in Africa where they have they lift up like a casket.
Oh, dude!
They start dancing like.
That's my new favorite thing, dude. You've never seen it?
Yeah.
So people come near death, and then like this music comes on, and these 6 dudes from like somewhere in Africa just start dancing with a casket.
Like carrying it?
Yeah, they're carrying it while doing like a little dance.
Oh wow,
dude, it's funny. You probably look it up like casket dance, and it'll pop up.
Casket dance.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'll see if I can find one now, but yeah, there's really good ones.
Something like that.
All right, so there's a deadly hornet from China that appeared to have made its way to the U.S. Have you seen that? Have you guys seen that?
I heard about that, yeah.
John used to tell us stories about this thing before it got to the U.S. And like apparently this thing is fucking armored plated. It's like impossible to kill like under normal circumstances unless you light it on fire. It doesn't die when it stings you. Like it can sting you multiple times with zero problem. And like I think he said that for the average adult, it would take like 8 stings and you're in jeopardy of dying if you don't get medical attention fairly immediately.
2020 is a movie. Like everything that's happening is a movie script. It's fine. Jesus Christ, we got killer hornets now.
Where it's like Jesus smoking weed, and it's like I don't think they've had enough. Send in the fucking murder hornets.
Chris, I'll show you a clip of this. You see this? So all these guys are gonna gangbang her, and then it's like. And then she's dead.
Amazing. I hope that there's a good portion of our listeners that don't see this on video and only listen to the audio, because you realize what you just said, right? So you play this clip and you're like, look, they're about to gangbang her.
Yeah, it's like 20 black dudes taking Riley Reid, which is fairly small, into a room.
And now she's dead. like just that sentence. They're about to gangbang her. Now she's dead.
Yeah, that does not sound good on audio at all.
And mind you, all these black dudes are like Shaq, the size, literally.
For the listeners at home, it was a meme.
I think that was Ngannou in the video.
It wasn't Frankie's personal video. It was a meme.
Not this time, anyway.
Oh, guys, I don't know if you can see my thumb.
Shit.
I grabbed an iron skillet off the grill this weekend. I had like a towel wrapped around it, and like it just spread just enough, and literally it was just like, and I was like, "Oop, that burned my thumb bad."
Were you filming?
No, but
oh man,
like, gnarly.
That would have been pretty cool if you would have been filming it for your cooking series.
Yeah, that would have been good. I didn't really react. I was just like, "Yep, that burned bad."
Yeah. At least you tried to cover it up. Like one time I was like doing barbecue and I put a pot onto the grill, like a baked beans or something. And I didn't think about it. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, there's a pot. You're used to grabbing the handle. You know what I mean? So I go to grab the fucking handle, burn my whole goddamn hand.
My father, he worked for the highway department before he retired. And there was a pail of hot tar that they would use to just kind of finish up parts of the road.
This story. You should finish the story.
And it fell, and he just reacted. Like reaction just went to go catch it and caught like the handle of the pail, but got hit with the hot tar all over his hand, melted like everything off his hand.
God damn! Is his hand like completely fucking scarred forever now, or like
they did skin grafts and everything? Like they airlifted him to a hospital to Stanford University from there.
Yeah.
I think I was in training camp, and I think I was in California, and I heard about it. So I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, you all right? Only thing he talked about was the helicopter ride. He was so psyched about the helicopter ride. He's like, Chris, did you hear? I'm like, yeah, Dad, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He says, did you hear about the helicopter ride? I got to fly over this town and that town. I was like, how's your hand?
Meanwhile, he had like third degree burns all over.
Oh yeah, 100% third degree burns.
Oh
yeah, man.
Yeah. So never dive head first in to catch any hot
tar. Yeah.
Hot tar or oils. It would have been funny if you would have been doing like a live video. Like today we have salmon on the grill with some white wine sauce and oh shit, son of a bitch.
Don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that.
Oh man.
So the California governor, Gavin, is being sued for closing down its beaches. Like Gary said, it's unconstitutional.
Good. Sued by whom?
Just a bunch of people.
Different groups. I think that there's also talks about like there was pastors that were involved in a lawsuit and some small businesses as well. I mean, because ultimately it is causing people to lose money and lose their businesses. So I mean, it's perfectly reasonable in my opinion that they do that. I don't think any of this is enforceable. I don't think it's legal to tell people that they can't run their businesses.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens there. I mean,
I'm curious how that's going to go down judgment wise. Like, are they going to treat it as it like, oh, this is a circumstance where we've never really dealt with anything and there's not really a precedent for it. So
I feel it's really hard to beat the government.
Yeah.
I've heard specifically in a bunch of different cases in, I believe Texas. Now Texas is a different world than most other places, but that they've already overturned a lot of the hearings about people going against whether it's like social distancing laws or whatever the case may be as unconstitutional. So and the other thing that goes into it is okay. So let's say we're gonna fine people and throw them in jail for going against what the government's saying about closing down their businesses. Now, on top of not having money for the last 2 months of running their business, on top of all of the business that they're going to lose moving forward because everybody's going to be afraid of spending money at this point because nobody has money to spend. On top of all that, now you're going to charge them more money and throw them in jail while you're letting other criminals out because of coronavirus.
Yeah. I saw that article where they're letting out a bunch of sex offenders in California. I'm like, that's not a good idea.
So, yeah, suing the government, probably a very slim chance that you win. But on the upside, if you do win, they'll probably make a movie out of it, like Aaron Brockovich.
So, it's true.
With a famous actor. So keep at it. So Gary, apparently that video that you sent us with the monkey, the Indonesian monkey, it's a viral thing.
Yeah.
I saw it on a couple of websites. It's a little monkey that comes in a little mini motorbike and rides up like he's doing a drive-by to some toddlers on a bench, and he takes off with a little girl.
He drags her.
And he drags her like a fucking savage ape, and a man has to scare him away.
Yeah.
He would have taken her too.
I don't know. I watched that video. It looks like, I don't know if the monkey pulled a piece of her hair out, because it did look like.
It does look like he might have bit her in the head.
Yeah, it looks like he bit her scalp, or if it was just from dragging her face on the cobblestone. But it looked like she has a bald spot on her forehead.
For sure.
And you can see like when he gets like a full grip on this girl, how hard he like pulls her.
Yeah.
It's crazy how strong those little things
And then
are.
the rest of the world will say, "Look how the wildlife is returning to the cities. It's so beautiful."
Snatched up little kids.
Bro, my question is, where the fuck did he get a custom bike, man? It was like a bike just built for his frame, dude. And he rode up in that shit going like
rising up
40 kilometers per hour, bro. Nobody saw him coming.
Yep.
Yeah, you imagine that fucking monkey was like in the corner of the street, just like doing some reconnaissance on those kids.
You think you're prepared to be a parent? Are you ready for your child to be ridden up on by a motorcycle driving monkey? Are you prepared to defend her life?
What if there's like a gang of them, like a whole bunch of different slow monkeys on
Gang of monkeys.
what the hell?
On motorbikes.
On motorbikes. They really are taking over.
Bar. They're
They-
fucking.
They say that chimps are going through a stone age, right? Is it chimps, or what kind of apes are going through?
Dude, this is like something out of Madagascar, like the kids' cartoons. Right? It's like there's a henchman, there's like an evil villain who's building an army of monkeys on motorbikes.
Still
Are you aware? You know that monkeys in the wild, I'm not exactly sure where this is. They train dogs, so they steal the dogs when
heard
they're
about this.
children. Okay, so they'll steal puppies and hide them away, and they'll train the puppies, and then eventually they'll ride on the backs of them. They'll use them to hunt. Like they use the dogs, like and they'll use the dogs not only to hunt, but to hunt other dogs.
That's
like
crazy.
to kill. So the dogs will kill their own because they were raised by the monkeys and they don't know any better.
Man, I love monkeys.
Maybe that's what the monkey was
Oh,
doing, trying to
shit.
steal the little girl so they could train her to be.
Monkeys are fucking shit.
Yeah, man.
They scare the shit out of me, bro. They're way too strong.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Man, I love looking at videos of those monkeys in Asia just fucking tourists up.
Hmm.
Just fucking them up and stealing their stuff.
Yeah.
So, Gary, you're going to be really happy about this new one. Apparently, those pants that you were wearing are kind of like a thing now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some celebrities wearing them out. Like Channing Tatum had these MC Hammer gold pants.
Well, we all
taking
know I
out the
started
trash.
right.
So you pretty much started this trend with your Fresh Prince of Bel-Air pants.
Yeah, man. As soon as I saw them, I'm like, gotta have those.
Yeah, when I saw them, I'm like, Jesus, Gary buys like the stupidest fucking things. And look at you now.
Yeah.
And now
started
he's a
the trend.
trendsetter.
And I'm okay. I'll be
They're
honest.
the ones
I bought
with
some
the drop
yesterday
crotches, right?
online.
It's got like your pants. They have that big drop crotch, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I have one that I actually use for pajamas here.
Nice.
It's a
Yeah.
little
See, that's
hot
the
now.
thing. I can't wear them in public, not because I don't like the way that they look. I think they're cool, but I'm always afraid to be wearing things in public that I don't think I can fight in. Like I would hate to be like to spend years of my life training and learning how to fight, and then get into a confrontation in the street and have somebody step on the middle of my pants, knock the fuck out of me, and they're like, "Yeah, what kind of MMA fighter is that pussy? He sucks."
Stepping
Great,
on
that's a
your
great point.
pants.
You know?
So yeah, I went online and bought some yesterday, Gary. So
We should
Yeah.
we should do an episode where you all wear them.
and mine have a Velcro little hatch on the crotch.
Of course they do.
Yeah,
Mine are lame. They're just black. I don't have anything on them.
just in case something pops off and I have to take my dick out.
Yeah, Frankie doesn't worry about getting into fights. He worries about if he's gonna have to throw
Just
down some.
Throw that dick out. Just slang
Throw
it
that
dang.
dick down.
Slang the dang-a-lang. So talking about fucking weird suits, There's a prototype now of something called a microshell. It's a personal protective suit for large gatherings. So this dude called Miguel Risueño. So he's the head of inventions at an LA-based design studio. And he got inspired after seeing like all those spring breakers going crazy. Now he has a prototype of a suit that's going to be for sale.
He got on that pretty fast.
Yes, it's got like a built-in ventilation system. It's got like a little pocket for your cell phones.
Does it look like a hazmat suit? Does it look
No,
crazy?
dude, it looks like something Daft Punk would wear. It looks dope, dude. I'd fucking buy one.
So,
did you guys see the new Invisible Man movie?
If I'd buy one, I'd probably have to like customize it and have like a hatch for it on my garage.
He's like, I want a biohazard suit, but it needs to have a pocket for my cock. Like, I'm not comfortable with there not being access there. You never know. You just never know. You might help an old lady cross the street and she might want to suck your dick, you know, and you can't have a situation where it's hard to pull your pants down.
Be ready at all times.
Be ready. Gary's got to be ready to fight. Frankie's a whole different ready.
Ready to pipe.
But in the new Invisible Man movie, there's like a suit, and it's like this really like form fitting, and it's crazy. It kind of sounds similar to what you're talking about.
Wow.
That movie's not good, by the way.
Yeah. I was gonna say I haven't heard anything about that movie or any reviews or anything, so it probably sucked.
It was one of the when they
Is that? Oh wait, that's a Mira Sorvino movie.
No.
Well, whatever, man.
Yeah. It was one of the first movies that was like it came out in the movie theater right when this hit, so like they allowed you to watch it on like iTunes or whatever or Amazon. So I bought it, spent like $20 and bought it, and I was like, this movie sucks.
Oh shit! Listen to this. I saw a concert in Germany, and it looked like a drive-in with cars.
Drive-in.
Yes. So people go with their cars, and it's like two per vehicle, and it had like thousands of cars listening to like this guy play some techno music.
Yeah, they're real.
That's awesome.
It was
Drive-ins are
surreal,
back.
man. Italy's lockdown has been lifted and the streets are now flooded.
Yeah, I saw photos.
So they are giving zero fucks now. People are ready to die.
Gotta love Italians.
Oh, talking about ready to die, the Gronk has stated he will be defending his 24/7 belt, even if he's in the NFL. His agent is very concerned.
They just fired Cain Velasquez from WWE.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Budget cuts.
Yeah,
He's gonna.
claimed to not be. He claimed to not have any injuries, or maybe that he didn't say he had any injuries when he signed the contract. And then when they wanted him to do the first show, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm injured." And they were like,
"Oh fuck." I thought they were doing.
No.
I thought they were just doing budget cuts because his contract was pretty hefty.
I just read an article about it today. Apparently, that's not true. Apparently, it has to do with him fucking up the contract. And then apparently he also did something that he like talked about him and Ronda Rousey going in for a meeting or something, and he wasn't supposed to talk about it. It was supposed to be a surprise or something.
Ouch.
So he leaked some stuff he wasn't supposed to leak. Now, this is just an article I read. Maybe it's bullshit, but that's what they say. They said that they're open to maybe adding him back in after the whole coronavirus thing is over, but they said as of now he's out.
Man, he's always like been plagued with injuries.
Yes.
He's a fighter.
Right?
Yeah, man.
No, like notoriously.
Mhm.
Kind of like almost like Dominic Cruz, which is coming back.
Nice.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, tough dude.
He's fighting Cejudo for the belt.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like Dominic Cruz a lot.
You don't know what I'm talking about, Gary.
I know what you're talking about.
No, you don't.
No?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Your reaction was like.
I know who Dominic Cruz is. I also know who Cejudo is.
But you didn't know they were fighting.
I didn't know that, but now I do.
Oh. Yeah. It's like when a manly man gets asked for an address or directions, and you just say whatever and make it sound like you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take a right, a left, and you'll be right on your
I do
destination.
that shit all the time. But man, I really love Dominic Cruz's style. It's very, very unique.
Who you got for that
unconventional.
fight? Who you got?
That's a good question. I think I'll take Dominic Cruz in that fight. I think he'll do well. We'll see. Have they fought before? I don't think they have.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Dominic Cruz was one of the only other ones to beat Mighty Mouse, so I think that's a tough fight.
That was a long time ago, though. That's before Mighty Mouse was like the badass Mighty Mouse that you see today.
Sure.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I think.
Cruz hasn't fought in a long time.
No.
But he doesn't believe in ring rust, and he always goes out there and fucking lays it down.
He's so technical, though. I'm curious to see how he comes off a long layoff like that.
Yeah. Hey, Gary. So Theo posted. I don't have a Reddit account. I sent it to you, but you never reply. You only reply on the group text. You never reply like one-on-one. You fucking asshole. So I sent you.
He's a busy man.
Because we're a fucking family, and whatever you got to say to me, you could say to Chris.
You say to Chris. Okay.
See, this is why we wear the hats the same day without even talking.
I'm not gonna let you talk behind his back like that. All right. Won't tolerate this behavior in our family.
So,
fucking
Theo posted the video of you talking about the Kron match. Bro, the haters came out to party. Man, Reddit's got some haters, huh?
Reddit's rough. Right now, I think, on Reddit's bad side because of all my talk about, the shutting down schools and the economic shutdown and my opinions on that. Apparently, for suggesting that there might be some economic troubles associated with shutting down the economy, that I am the world's biggest retard.
Yes.
According to the Reddit community.
Yeah, there were a bunch of people saying like, telling Theo, your friend is not a very good interviewer. He's not very good. And I'm like, I wasn't interviewing Gary. It's as much of an interview as you interviewing me.
Oh man.
Wait, they're talking about you? Like you weren't a good interview?
Yeah, like I was interviewing Gary when we were like shooting the shit talking about Kron. But it's like, just people have to say something,
Yeah, they do.
And then telling me that I know nothing about MMA. They're like, and your friend doesn't know anything about MMA just because I at first started off by saying that Gary needed a little bit of time before fighting Kron, and then when Gary said that he had better stand-up, I was like, you know what? Like I went over it in my head, and I'm like, yeah, you do have better stand-up. I think so. I think you're more fluid. But yeah, you should hop on there, Gary, and fucking spook some of these dudes. Like, say it to my face, you bitch ass.
What's tough is like it's so weird, like being in an environment where everybody believes that you can't have an opinion about something just because like you're not an expert about it. It's like, fuck, man. Like my opinion might be wrong, but
but it's an opinion. Yeah.
I don't get to fucking talk about it. Like we're all so now the only people who are allowed to speak about anything are people that are like pure experts on it. Like since when have we ever lived like that as a society? Like we're having
certainly don't now.
Dude, and it's crazy because 3 comments were full written reports, like paragraphs, like fucking it's like handing in an assignment.
Yeah.
But that's how Reddit is though, right? Reddit is, people are really opinionated and they there's no length limit.
They pick and choose too. They'll take like little snapshots. Like I remember like with the thing with me and Keenan, they took like little screenshots of like whatever they wanted to put and then left the rest of it out. And then they're like, oh, this is the full story. And then
they're
that's
cherry picking.
Our reading, which is understandable too. Like one of the things that's really tough is, and it takes a while to like get this, at least it did for me, is that like I have my view of like who I am, right? And you guys each have your views of who I am based on the information and experiences you've had with me or the information and experiences you've taken about me, right? So like some people don't know me as well. Like they don't know everything that I've ever said. They've only heard maybe a couple things that I said that they thought were mean. So now I'm a mean guy, right? And that's hard sometimes because like I can't prove that to you, you know what I mean? Unless you actually listen to more about like who I am. Maybe you listen to this podcast or maybe you like try to converse with me personally, That's the only way you would actually know who I am, but people just cut off.
I think through this podcast, people are going to start just falling in love with you and see that you're just America's sweetheart. You're a sweet, sensitive, fruit tart of a man.
Definitely not a mean guy.
Tart. E.
Hey, man.
Chris, so why are you hiding the hair today?
I'm going to the gym, so I'm not even hiding them.
Okay.
But it's
It still looks beautiful somehow, even though he took the hat
I
off.
told you,
It's
I
still
told you guys. You're like, he goes and does his hair. It's like, I don't really do much.
Dude, I really wanted to say something bad about his hair and I couldn't find anything. I'm like, yeah, take your hat off, huh? I got something for you.
My sister told me today during the
Beautiful
Zoom session,
mess.
she's like, you need to use a hairbrush on your hair or something. And I'm like, Ashley, do you think I own a hairbrush? I was like, do you really think I have that in my house? Unless a chick left one at my house, I'm pretty sure I don't have any hairbrushes.
Unless there's a wooden penis attached to it, there's no way you have it.
Now I'm gonna get a hairbrush and it's gonna have a penis attached to it for sure.
Gary.
Yeah.
So Chris and I were talking on the one-on-ones on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Not like you and me. And we decided that the next guest is going to be your sister.
Nice.
So we want her on the pod.
For the record, this did not happen. I was not privy to this conversation.
Everything that he said is false.
And for friendship purposes, I don't think you should make that episode.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Wow, you want to do an episode without me with my just?
Just kidding, Gary. Just kidding.
Frank is ruthless.
Chris, you got anything for us?
It's Chris's fitness tips he's got for you. He's got the little tips. He's gonna give it all to you. Just the tip. The little fitness tip. He's gonna give it all to you.
Yeah, actually, because I read some new information about, not really new information, but intermittent fasting. I had a friend asking me about it, and one of the guys that I train with, he's a coach, and he wanted to get into intermittent fasting. He thought, when he asked me what my ideas about it were, if it was a good idea, and I 100% do think it's a good idea. I think if you're not an athlete who has to train multiple times a day, that it's a really, really beneficial way in order to lean out or just stick to a dietary lifestyle. And I read somewhere recently that there is a considerable difference between an 18-hour fast over a 16-hour fast, where like the 16 is pretty much like the minimum where you start seeing the health benefits. And then even going the extra 2 hours and shortening the window from 8 hours to 6 hours is really beneficial, even if you did that once a week. So even if you were doing intermittent fasting, your 8-hour eating window, 16 hours off, and then one day a week you went up to 18, there could be some serious health benefits.
What are those health benefits?
There's certain things like, one, just gut rest in general. The idea that you're allowing your GI to kind of chill and just not have to be working all the time. Like us athletes, we're constantly putting in protein and carbohydrates into our blood system. We're spiking our insulin all the time. We're changing our blood sugar. So there's a much more muted response of insulin and blood sugar when you are fasting on the regular. And then autophagy, which is just basically your body's ability to recycle old and older and beat up cells.
Wow.
From the look in Gary's face, he checked out like 5 minutes ago. As soon as he asked the question, he checked out.
He went to school. He went to school for this stuff, man.
No, I'm always curious. I actually, with intermittent fasting, I don't tend to do it on a regular basis. Like I usually eat quite a bit throughout the day. But when I hurt my elbow and I had elbow surgery, I quickly learned that if I kept my diet up, I was going to gain a lot of weight really fast. Like I shot up to like almost 190, like pretty fast. So I had to, I started doing like basically only having like one meal, right before the end of the day. And that was where I got. And maybe then I only consumed like 1,000 calories instead of like way more than that if I was eating all the meals. So it helped me a lot be able to maintain my weight when I wasn't as active as I was before. And I have a genuine feeling that when I start reducing the amount of athletic activity in my life one day, when I'm no longer like a competitive athlete, that may be one of the ways that I have to handle, my diet moving forward, because it's really.
I agree 100%, and that's something I've said about even myself. Like once I stop training as much as I do, and I don't have to, and honestly, it'll probably be better not to train so often. I think that's going to be the route for me as well.
Yeah.
So Chris, Dr. Rhonda Patrick recommends a 16 and 8 hour principle, which is 16-hour fast and 8 hours eating.
Yeah, because some people will say like, oh, I do a 12-hour fast every day. It's like, well, yeah, it's not really a fast. Like that's you're basically sleeping.
That's called sleep.
Yeah,
It's called
but
sleep, right?
16 is where you start seeing the health benefits.
Okay. Hey, did you guys see Mike Tyson working out this quarantine?
Yep.
What the fuck, bro?
What a terrifying man.
Jesus. It's like, man, that guy was born to do that.
Yep. His body's ability, like his waist is like a gun turret. He's able to just shift, boom,
Just
boom.
generates so much torque.
How does a 53-year-old man do that without throwing his back out? Like,
And not even that, Chris. Like, he's been inactive for so long. I was hearing him on his podcast talking to it was another boxer. I don't remember who. Just saying that he wasn't training at all and he didn't want to do any physical activities, just like because he felt that he would bring out the killer instinct out of him, and he didn't want to be that guy anymore.
What a lot of people don't realize about him, I think, and like I'm sure Chris knows on some level. I'd imagine you've done, you've learned some things about Tyson's career. Is like that dude was mentally conditioned to be a monster. Like basically, like it would tell him all kinds of things. Like basically, he was hypnotized.
100%.
Essentially,
custom
every
up.
single day he's told that he's, a murderer, a killer, all these things. He's going to be the best in the world. Like so there is a huge. It was not like, hey, Mike Tyson just shows up to boxing practice today. Like he was trained to be a different human being.
Yeah.
And everything that you just said, Frankie, like to him, like doing a push-up might make him mentally have like PTSD and go back to that moment where like he had to be a murderer, and he doesn't really want to do that anymore.
Yeah, makes 100% sense.
He looks like he's been training something though. He looks like he's in good shape. Like even you can see even like the rest of his body look better than
Yeah. He lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
People are sending me messages like, "Oh, do you think he's gonna do a comeback?" I'm like, "No, he's not gonna come back. He's just hitting pads."
Yeah.
John was actually telling me some of his. He said he did some later fights when he was much older. I don't remember what they were, what age he was, but he said it was interesting to see because he's a little slower than he used to be. He said it's a little easier to kind of see some of the mechanics that he uses and things like that because before he was so much faster. So you get a chance to really look at the way he's moving. So I haven't taken a look at those. I remember seeing one clip where he like KOs the guy and like catches him and picks him back up, basically lets him continue, but.
All right. It's been a good one, guys.
Yeah, I got to get my butt into the gym.
All right, guys. Later. Good luck.
Peace out, you little bitches.
I move for no man, no man, no man, no
All right.
man, no
We'll call it a draw.
no man.
Just a flesh wound, just a flesh wound, just a flesh wound, just a flesh